Duvenage is the head of OUTA. He gets his years and his rands correct. I don't. Wayne, good afternoon to you. How does this work? How did you come to a figure that political parties are getting so much money every year from government?
Well, thanks, Stephen. Yeah, it's quite interesting. It started about 18 months ago. We wanted to ask and find out more about this parliamentary representation in these constituencies. You know, how much money do political parties get from government? Where are these constituency offices? How are they funded? And how are they held accountable for this funding that they get through Parliament? And we found and started to discover some very interesting information, and it's very hard to find, by the way, and it's not illegal. It's in the acts and the various segments. But when you start analyzing it, you start to realize that there's a lot of money here. There's no accountability, there's no transparency, and we've actually got a lot of questions, especially when you look at the provincial elements thereof. So there's the three main streams are from Home Affairs, which is the Electoral Commission that gives money to political parties, and then through Parliament, and then through the provincial legislatures, which is about 53% of that funding. And it's in this provincial legislature allocations that we start to see big differences. I mean, for instance, Gauteng, over the last 13 years, 1.2 billion rand allocated to political parties. And over that same period, the Western Cape only allocated 466 million. So about a third of it in one province compared to another. And these are the two big provinces. And then when you start to compare that even further, you'll find that KZN, for instance, has the same amount as in these provincial allocations that Gauteng has, and as does the Eastern Cape, and very small amounts and far lesser amounts in other provinces. So we need to ask ourselves why and what happens to this money, because it's a lot of your and my money, taxpayers' money. In fact, it amounts to about 17 billion rand by the end of this next 2 years and this period of the current parliament sitting, and yet we don't know where that money goes. We think it's going straight to political parties who aren't accounting for it and are spending it to finance their own structures in a way that needs to be answered to the public, and they're not doing so.
I mean, the whole idea really of a constituency office is that because we have a system of proportional representation, a member of parliament would still be given a geographic constituency. I must say, I don't know anyone who knows, where their constituency office is. I mean, I like to think I know one or two things about politics. I have no clue if I have a constituency MP or not. So this is not about MP salaries. This is about money that goes to offices that maybe don't even exist, I suppose.
They don't exist, because we can only find 25, and even those are questionable. They should be going to 200 constituencies. All the MPs need to have these constituencies, because they spend a lot of time, Stephen, going back to their constituencies. They're given weeks and weeks off to engage with their constituencies. But if you and I wanted to go and find out, hey, who's our constituency representative in Parliament in let's say, Uppington or certain areas, there's no place to find that information. There are no offices. Do these MPs go and spend time there to engage with their constituencies? We believe not. And if they are doing so, we can't find any evidence of that. So a lot of money being spent on political parties who are supposed to represent their constituencies in various areas around the country, and we can't find any information around this. We believe this is money that is squandered, that is not being used for the intention thereof.
I mean, there's another issue here, I suppose, when I sort of scratched my head politically, which is that if you're a political party and you receive money from government in this way, and it amounts to quite a large amount of money, it's actually easier for you to stay a political party. It's easier for you to campaign in the next election. What I'm trying to say is it may well entrench you as a political party, whereas if you're trying to become a new political party, it's much harder.
Well, exactly, and that's our findings now, is that exactly that the entrenched political parties get a big slice of this pie, and it enables them to grow their impact and their effort, and the smaller guys get very little. Now, we understand there's going to be a proportional split, but then when you look at it by province, you see that proportional split is even more skewed in certain provinces than others. So, and then we couldn't find, Stephen, information around, so which political parties are getting what amount in each province. That information is not there, and it's supposed to be there. We're supposed to have access to all this information of where the money goes to which parties and how it is spent. It's not there. There's a lack of transparency. We're talking about 16, 17 billion rand over the last or over a 15-year period. We need to get answers, and I think as we dig deeper, we're going to find some interesting surprises.
Wayne Duvenage, thanks very much indeed. Do appreciate that. Very